Hello, welcome back. This is my 102% playthrough of Donkey Kong Country 2. Last time we completed Gangplank Galleon, so today we're moving on to World 2, which is Crocodile Cauldron. Let's jump right in. So we're going to start off with Hot Head Hop. We've just beaten Crow, so we're playing as Dixie, but we're going to stay playing as Dixie for just a minute. For reasons that will hopefully become clear. So, although I said she's slower than Diddy, and she is slower than Diddy, she's not so much slower that it's not sometimes worth playing as her for a level to avoid swapping between Kongs. Took that a little slower than I might have liked, but that's okay. So hopefully we'll bounce on these crocodile heads 4 times. And then get the coin. It's really easy to miss a star in that one. It wastes a lot of time. Thankfully we didn't. Now we're on Squid of the Spider, so because we're on Squid of the Spider, I think we're just running at the spider speed anyway, so we're no longer losing any time for playing as Dixie Kong. So Squid of the Spider, he's got a trick where you can instantly shoot platforms out by pressing L and R together. Whereas normally that's what would happen instead, is you would shoot out and then you'd have to press a button again in order to put the platform down after it's been shot out. But for speedrunning purposes, it's much faster to just instantly create platforms underneath Squitter as you go. So it's a little bit trickier to do that, but yeah, it just makes more sense. These platforms are quite tricky, or there's a little bit of a nuance to them, because you can only have 2 active at a time, so if you try to make a third, then the first will disappear. And also if you create a web without jumping on, or if you create a new web without jumping on an old web, the old web will disappear because the game will think that you didn't want to use it. And sometimes that can get you in a little bit of trouble as well. So the reason I wanted to keep Dixie Kong out in front is, or this is one of the reasons, this bonus level has got character-specific barrels in it, and it plays a little bit faster as Dixie Kong. Whoops. Usually plays a little bit faster as Dixie Kong. There we go, so we've got the DK coin, we've got the first bonus coin. What we're going to try and do is we're going to try and skip ahead to the warp barrel by doing a quick jump off there and then land in the warp barrel there, so we skipped out a little bit of a level there. You can sometimes trigger that warp barrel from underneath, so you don't have to jump up to the platform, you can just go straight into the warp barrel. But whether or not the warp barrel spawns seems to be based on the camera position, which is something that's quite difficult to manipulate. So basically sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you just don't throw quite high enough and you've got to go around the normal way. Which is not the end of the world, but it would have been faster, obviously, to skip that little bit. So we've gotten to the end of the level. Now we're using the warp barrel one more time because it's a vertical level. We just want to drop down into the bonus levels, of which there are 3. We've already completed 1. This one's the second one, and then the third one. Well, we'll drop into the third one as well. We've got a lot of enemies to avoid while we're dropping down. So we're basically dropping down blind. Just gotta know the route off by heart. That is not it. Oh, there it was. Dear me. Is it faster to just start and select out and go again? No, it's not. Okay, that's not what we wanted. We missed the bonus barrel when we were falling through. But just about managed to recover, and we haven't lost a life. So obviously losing a life is probably the biggest avoidable time waster. what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Clover's Kiosk. So there's a Clover's Kiosk in every world from here onwards, and if you've got at least 15 Krem coins, you can pay him to access a secret bonus level, or a secret additional level. So this is Jungle Jinx. This is the first extra hard level, because they're all a little bit difficult than a little bit more difficult than your regular levels. And this is just, this is basically our introduction to the Lost levels. The Lost World. So you can see already the difficulty's ramped up a little bit. Might actually be at risk from dying here, but hopefully not. So each of these levels has one bonus level in it. That was it there. Did I get the halfway point? I don't think I did. I think I skipped it. Yeah, skipped the halfway barrel. Lessons to be learnt there. Each of these levels in the Lost World has one bonus level, and the bonus level for the Lost World levels, they always contain the DK coin for that level. Since you've already paid Krem coins to access the level in the first place. So yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. That's what we were supposed to do. Roll and then jump. Yeah, okay. So I normally play this bonus level as Dixie, and Dixie throws Diddy from higher up because she throws using her hair. Failed to take into account that I would need to jump as Diddy to make that dragonfly. Not to worry. Oh, that was weird. It's like there were two tires on top of one another. Don't see that very often. We're going to jump into this bee on purpose, take the hit, and skip that section because that's faster. And now we've only got one hit left, so we're just going to try our best not to die. We're always trying not to die, but particularly in that section. So that's our introduction to the Lost World out of the way, and now it's just back into Crocodile Cauldron to do the rest of this world. It's not a bad thing that we're playing as Dixie Kong here, because we can skip this first seal, just like that. So Clapper the seal is throughout this level, and he just turns the lava back into water, but it's only a temporary transformation. So I probably could have skipped that Clapper there, and that's what I was trying to do. But I accidentally jumped onto him. So some you can skip, some you have to go through, or you have to make use of. I switched on purpose there because there's a bonus level coming up, but it's easier to access as Diddy Kong than it is as Dixie. When the Kongs are in water, they move at the same speed. So Dixie's speed disadvantage is nullified when they're swimming. That's the bonus level that it's easier to get into as Diddy. Because you remember Dixie holds the barrel higher up, so she has to throw it using her hair to access this bonus level. Whereas Diddy can just carry the barrel to break the wall. What's funny is we can miss out that enemy in this level, and since the bananas count as an enemy, we still get the Krem coin. That doesn't save any time, it's just fun to do. There are a few places later in the game where having that knowledge does save you time. Usually Squawk's bonus levels where you've got to beat all the enemies, because beating all the enemies as Squawks tends to take longer than beating all the enemies as On Guard. Squawks being the parrot animal buddy that we'll first see in a little bit. I think in about 2 levels time. Lava Lagoon. Now on to Red Hot Ride. So what we're going to do is there are these balloons that we're going to use to cross chasms, but that's really slow. So We're going to avoid doing that wherever possible. Oh, no, didn't feel good about that. So yeah, these balloons are really slow, and so firstly we're going to use a warp barrel to skip the level. But we're going to have to jump back in because the level obviously has bonus levels and it has a DK coin. But if we can, we're gonna skip as many lava chasms as we can by just jumping over them. Which is why it's good for me to be playing as Dixie. So I can jump over this one, and I can jump over this one. And we're going to use what's called a Rambi super jump now to cross a particularly long chasm, and hopefully this works. But this is one of the coolest looking tricks in the game if it does work. There we go, double jump. That's the first part out of the way. And the second part. There we go. So if we had used the balloons to cross, instead of super jumping as Rambi, that probably would have taken about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So that's a huge time skip. That's such a big time skip that if you fail it and you land in the lava, it's still worth trying again, going back in and doing that skip again, and you'd still have saved time over doing it the normal way. Yeah. It's such a big skip that even though I'm going back to the start, no, I don't know. Maybe. This is a little bit unfortunate. What we were trying to do, obviously, we were trying to jump underneath the scenery there to get to the bonus level. What's intended is that you go around instead. But since the lava is just for show, and what I mean by that is the lava is actually just a bottomless pit. Jumping into the lava isn't what hurts you. And in fact, you can touch the lava quite happily. It's the bottom of the screen that kills you. Because of that, it's possible to avoid the scenery, which is what we were trying to do to get to that bonus level. But it wasn't to be. Okay. This is where it all starts to fall apart. Okay, that means we get one more attempt at this super jump. And that's not what it looks like. Okay, why don't we go across this chasm normally, and that way I can show you just how much this level we managed to skip by doing the super jump. It's paralyzingly slow. Almost hurts. This is the first part of the super jump, and then you use these little the geysers to rise up so we can keep going and eventually reach the other side. So that's what we managed to skip. Now this time, there we go. That's what we were trying to do. Jump under the scenery to get into the bonus level. Saves about 2 seconds, and it probably cost us a good minute and a half. But yeah, I guess that's speedrunning for you. Always risk versus reward. The reward wasn't great that time. So I grabbed that the halfway barrel just as an insurance policy now, so that if anything does go pear-shaped, and this level has not quite gone according to plan so far, but if anything goes wrong, we just go back to the halfway barrel. There we go, got the DK coin, and we're out of there. This is Squawk's Shaft. This is the penultimate level of Hothead Hop, of Crocodile Cauldron. What we're going to do is we're going to use this warp barrel to get all the way to the top, but this what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to use this warp barrel to get all the way to the top of the level, complete it this way. But this is one of the few vertical levels where we can't actually drop back through the level to get the bonus level, so we've got to more or less complete it the expected way, because the camera prevents us from going any further back in the level. So it's kind of unfortunate. That means we've got to complete the level the way nature intended. No skipping any of this. Whoops. Was that a skip? Does that count? So in that one, the coin is always in the same chest. Unlike the similar one we did in World 1, where the coin is always in a random chest. I need 2 coins to get that one. Which means start select. Okay, so this isn't quite world record pace, but you at least get to see some of the tricks that are involved in your typical 102% run. So I think speedrunning sometimes is as much a contest of skill as it is an endurance contest. What you're doing is you're playing over and over and over again, and waiting to try and get that perfect run. And a lot of it, you know, obviously a lot of it is down to skill, but a lot of it is down to luck as well. All the elements coming together. Just to work in just the right way for a particular attempt. Squawk's shaft out of the way. Now this is Cleaver. Cleaver is probably my least favourite boss. There's a way to skip part of this boss fight, but I can't pull it off consistently, so we're just gonna go at it the normal way. I'll mention it when it comes up, which is pretty soon. Oh, would have been sooner if I hadn't done that. There we go. So he takes his time sinking down. It's a bit of a fake out. He jumps up, he tries to stab you, and then the hooks drop down again. But in theory, as Dixie, if you jump from on top of the rock that's just there, and then helicopter glide, you can get all the way across this lava pit. So you don't have to wait for the fake out of him sinking down, and then jumping up, and then trying to stab you, and then the hooks forming, which obviously saves a couple seconds. But I can't quite make the jump. There's a bit of a knack to it that clearly I haven't got, or haven't got yet. I'm not sure if it's harder on PAL than it is on NTSC, or whether it's just something that comes with practice. So PAL is the European version of the game. That's what I'm running at the moment. NTSC is the American version of the game. And the American version of the game actually natively runs a little bit faster, so that's what most of the speedrunning community play on. But since I've got a British SNES and I've got I've got the European version of the game, that's what I play. That's what I run. Maybe in the future I could pick up an NTSC SNES, but I'm quite happy just playing the PAL versions at the moment. And it would be kind of nice in a way if there were more of a PAL community. So I feel like I'm contributing to that in a way. Yeah, maybe over time there'll be more PAL speedrunners. But it tends to be the case that people that start on PAL move on to NTSC just because NTSC is faster, and because the whole nature of the game is that you wanna beat it as quickly as possible. So why wouldn't you play a faster version of the game to achieve that? Yeah. Anyway, that was Crocodile Cauldron. So you can see we completed all the bonus levels. We got all the DK coins because we got the little exclamation mark and DK symbol up there. So that was World 2. Next time we'll move on to Kremke. That's World 3. We'll get our second Lost World level, which, if I remember correctly, is it's a doozy. It's a really tricky one. But until then, I'll catch you later. Bye. Hello, welcome back. This is my 102% playthrough of Donkey Kong. Why is it so hard to say Donkey Kong Country 2? Hello, welcome back. This is my 102% playthrough of Donkey Kong Country 2. Last time we completed Gangplank Galleon,